Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So what I would like to talk about to start with in the first of two presentations that I'm going to be going through today is the start of the journey with your customers. And I have titled this The Big Subs Hug. So let's dive straight in. So to start off, I would like you to answer a poll which is going up now. And I would like you to think about the last time that you reviewed your thank you message. And while that's going on, I will continue. So I think a thank you at the start of a relationship with your customers is really, really important. How you say thank you and how you kind of start that journey with them can really make a difference between whether they start to engage with your brand or whether they start to turn off from your brand. And you'll hear later from Tatiana, and she talks about how the welcome message is the third most important message in terms of customer messaging in the publishing sector. So it's something that's really important, and I just don't think that we, and as an industry, review it often enough, or if ever, if it's just one of those things that we've thrown in at the start and gone, right, tick, box, done, and not reviewed it. So I want to give you some examples as we go through the presentation. And for me, it's really important to look at examples outside of publishing. I think the direct consumer brands that are coming online now really have something to teach us and will help us question our practices and whether, you know, us as established subscription products are doing it validly. So this is an example from ACT. They are a deodorant company who sell subscription deodorants. And this thank you message is really lovely. It talks about the relationship that Ed and Andy have, how they met, where and why they started their journey into creating a new kind of deodorant and why it's so important to them. And this kind of welcome or this kind of thank you really starts to bring in the brand story and to really start to get your customer to engage with you at a kind of visceral level. And I think this kind of messaging resonates really well with Generation Z. They are looking for ways to identify with brands that have similar kind of a similar ethos and a similar way of thinking as themselves. And so if you kind of put that at the start of the journey, it can help start to solidify that message. And this email gets an open rate of over 70%. And I just think that is absolutely phenomenal. But it doesn't stop there. The next thing you need to do is to welcome your customers into your world. Start to give them a series of emails or messages that start to tell them about your brand and where you've come from. So I would like to share with you these examples from ACT again. So they have a series of 3 emails that go across the first 40 days of the life cycle with a customer. And the reason why it's 40 days is that's the length of time it can take to go through one tube of their deodorant. So they bring you in and they say welcome and hello, and then they give you an email which tells you how to use the product. Now, I know this may not be directly translatable to a magazine because obviously we all know how to turn the page of a magazine, but you may have other brand extensions that are part of the subscription package. So use those to tell the customer what they're getting as part of their subscription. So this second email, like I say, tells you how to use the product and how to get the most out of it. It tells you about the health benefits, and it tells you you know, what kind of products are used with like elements are used within the product itself. And then they send this last email to anyone who hasn't converted to subscription at the point where they assume the tube is going to be running out, and they give them the 10% discount. So it's a nice little series of emails, like I say, over a period of 40 days. and each one of these gets an open rate of between 40 and 50%. So my next example is from a company called Sorted. So Sorted are a food company. It's an app that you download, and within the app they have this concept of a meal pack, and each meal pack has 3 recipes in it, or up to between 3 and 5 recipes, excuse me, and it uses a set of ingredients that are the same across those 3 to 5 meals. This saves the customer money in terms of reducing food waste. It saves them money in terms of being able to shop effectively, and it saves them time because the recipes all have an audio guide that goes along with it, and that helps with the cooking and the learning and the tips and everything. So this is a representation of their welcome program that they put in recently. So they have chosen to have 3 emails, but they have timed it just differently across each of those parts. And they're using timing, message, and subject line as a way to try and understand the best way to onboard someone. And this is a directly relatable path, because these emails are received or sent out, should I say, during the trial period. So they have a month's trial where they're trying to get somebody to use the pack and to become a regular user of the product. And then they have a take-through point after that month where they go from a free trial to a paid element. And so I think this is really a directly translatable journey that a lot of publishers go through. They have that trial period, 3 issues for £1, 6 issues for £1, and then they have to try and retain you at the point of taking a full payment. And I think to give you an example of the open rates, so the open rates for each of these emails starts at 60%, and the lowest one at the end is 30%. So here I would be challenging Sorted to look at why they're not maybe taking through, and what not taking through, why they're not being opened, and testing some more subject lines. But don't forget, as SMC customers, you have send time optimization at your disposal and in your arsenal. So you can look at those using AI to start to optimize at the customer's best option and opportunity, rather than just some arbitrary timing that we have decided to put in as marketers. So my next example is all about how to build that brand experience and to build that personalization right from the start. And for those that have seen me present before will know that I can't do a presentation about personalization without talking about Graze. I really think that they are the market leaders in terms of building that personal experience and building that relationship for the relationship with you as a customer with them. And they do it right from the start. So this is their website. This is about building the box to my specification at the point of getting my first box delivered. But they don't just do this once, they are continually doing this. And I think this is why this brand resonates quite well with Generation Z, because they are building a personalized experience. And that is what the younger generations really like. They want something that is personalized to them, and they don't understand why big organizations can't deliver on that personalization. And I think, so I think that's why they do really well. So they take it from the point of you ordering your first box, and then every week they send you another email asking you to rate the boxes and to rate the products within your box. And they're building a reason to come back to the site. And I think this is another thing that we miss as publishers. We forget that oftentimes we have a website or we have an app, and we concentrate on getting the physical product out to someone, and we don't think about ways to engage our customers with the other elements of our brand and the other elements of our portfolio. And I think it's really key that we start to think about those things so that we can tailor personalized experiences and start to deliver personalized content. We haven't got a hope of doing that if we don't push them onto our site and start collecting that data in the back end. So here's another example. This one is from Packed Coffee. So Packed Coffee is a subscription of coffee. And you can choose your frequency, and you can choose whether to have beans or ground or whatever. So this was the first package I received from Packed. It's all wrapped up lovely. It has a little notebook in there, and in that notebook is a description of the grower, so where the beans have come from. It talks about the flavor notes of the coffee that you're about to drink, and it gives you instructions on how to get the most out of your coffee and how to grind the beans and what temperature to put the water in and things. So in addition to actually receiving your pack, you also get a lovely letter, which again goes into more information about how Packed are supporting the growers and the communities that they purchase the beans from. And it's really lovely to hear how a brand is not just taking from a community, but also trying to put back into that community, so that there is this kind of cycle of appreciation, if you like, from the growers to Packed and Packed to the growers. And I think messages like this really help to solidify that feeling of yes, I've made the right decision. This is the brand that I want to buy my coffee from. You know, I'm not going to be doing it with the Kenkos of the world. I'm going to be doing it with a company that really invests back into the communities. So next, I want you to consider the wow factor. And in particular, I'd like to think about the packaging that we use for our subscription products. So I have another poll for you. Again, this is designed to make you think about what you're doing and not just accept the status quo. So when was the last time you thought about the packaging and reviewed it? And have you thought about making the packaging different and distinct for a new customer? So this example is another subscription to a deodorant company. This one's called Wild. So this was my first product that I received. So as I opened up the box, it gave me a lovely message inside, which reaffirms my decision to purchase from them, because they are using, they are single-use plastic free, they are aluminium free, and they are cruelty free in their development process. They also include a nice, albeit in German, but a nice product description here, so how to use the product. So that's what you saw earlier with ACT, so they've included it in their box. And then they give you some instructions on how to actually put the deodorant into the tube that it comes with. And I think all of this, because it's very visceral and you have that kind of touchy-feely element, it can really help you to buy into the product and to kind of reaffirm the decision that you've made. And I think oftentimes publishers, we send out our magazines and our papers in an envelope or in plastic, and we don't think about how to make it an event, particularly that first purchase, that first subscription product that they receive. And I think that feeling of an event and a welcome and a kind of a warm and fuzzy moment, we just don't do enough of that in publishing. So here's another example. This is ACT, and this product packaging really uses every single surface to reiterate the brand and the ethos. So it has the headline and everything for what ACT stands for. It's very tongue-in-cheek as a brand. Drum roll, please. You're about to open your box. Again, there's that reiteration of plastic-free, and the packaging is 100% recyclable. And then, like I say, very tongue-in-cheek. Caution, this may change your life. As a little aside here, they have taken feedback from their customers. Their customers didn't like all this kind of rough packaging, cardboard. And so now they found a solution that wraps the box into tissue first and creates a much kind of nicer feeling rather than this kind of random bits of cardboard stuffed in. And then as you take your product out of the box, there's a lovely call to action there, asking them to go to actlondon.com and use 15% discount to subscribe. And again, I think this whole feeling of the kind of welcome and the wow and the kind of, this is something new and tangible. We don't do enough of that in publishing, and I think that's something that we need to think about, especially as we start to target the younger audience. They love to hear about companies that are winning. So if you have changed your product for a reason, for example, I received my copy of the week a couple of months back, and they had changed the plastic packaging. And they put a big flash on there to say plastic packaging is now 100% recyclable. Take it along with your plastic bags to your local recycling centre. So those kind of messages are really lovely and really help draw a customer into what you are doing as a brand. It helps them show that you are developing and not standing still. So I've already alluded to this a couple of times, but customer feedback is really, really important. And I think we should be looking for more opportunities for feedback. And I think it works on a couple of different levels. Firstly, I think it helps you build the sense of community. And I think subscription product is about community, but also it gives you a way to improve your products and services. Like I say, ACT changed their packaging based on feedback from their customers, and Sorted have changed recipes as a feedback from their customers. So I've got a few examples for you here. This is Graze. So at the end of their email, asking you to rate their the products in your box, they also have this little call to action, which is just to give us a super quick survey, and I think it's about 4 or 5 questions, and they use that, like I say, to help build and improve their service. ACT like to have this section on the footer of just about every email they send. They're constantly asking for feedback and ways to improve. So they have an email address on here that an actual person answers. Usually ends up being one of the founders, which is always really nice. I'm not saying that they can do that once they really scale, but it's that touchy-feely moment, that feeling that they're actually getting a contact with a human being to answer a question. And like I said, Sorted, at the end of every pack that you cook, they ask you for feedback. And I would say that if you have a product that you are about to launch, even if it's really minimal viable product, get feedback on it, especially if you're targeting a younger audience. They absolutely love being part of that innovation and reiteration process. And if you can build in ways to get them on board as your kind of beta testers, for example, it will absolutely help you further down the line in terms of retention and acquiring more customers, because you will have built a better product as a result. But if you're going to ask for feedback, then you have to make yourselves accountable. So as I said, at the end of every pack, Sorted ask you for your feedback. And they then take this feedback and put it in a dashboard, which is delivered to the SMT every single month. And the developers and the product team are really accountable to this, and they really look at these numbers, as do the senior leadership, on a monthly basis. And so it becomes not just a vehicle to, on the surface, give feedback and make someone feel warm and fuzzy by providing feedback, but it is tangibly measured within the business, and it is tangibly then acted upon, which makes a better product at the end of it, because you're being able to feed that back into improvements. So no presentation for Selligent is ever finished without some segmentation. You always have to talk about segmentation when you're talking about Selligent. So I've got another poll for you. So when I would like to know how many of you actually ring fence your customers at the start of the journey and the start of your lifetime with them, and do you actually look at ways of ensuring that you keep them as a barrier and not exposed to everything else that's going on in your organization. So as you're all really aware, Selligent has this lovely customer data platform. It gives you the ability to collect data at lots of different points and bring that into the universal profile, which then allows you to segment and analyze, and then push the marketing communications out across a variety of channels. And what I want to get to here is the fact that by collecting this data and putting it into your profile, you are able to deliver much more personalized experiences. And I think at the start of a journey, if at no other time, that is the point when you need to be maximizing that personalization and maximizing the understanding of those kind of trigger points, those points that get them over the trial, the points that get them past their second renewal point, or the points that maybe somebody would waver in the first few months of being a subscriber. Think about those, use the data that you've got within Selligent, and then build campaigns. And obviously I'm going, I wouldn't be a valid direct marketer if I didn't say, test, learn, evaluate, and reiterate, and go around that circle and that continuous loop. And as I say, really think about ring fencing your customers at the start of their journey with you, so that they don't get all the random spam that comes out of the rest of the company, and so that you can really, really hone in on the messaging and the feelings that you want to convey to your customers, rather than just the random nonsense that often we get told to push out to our customers. So that is that, and I believe we now have some time for some questions.